All right, let's talk about the year 2026. We're going to do a major reality check today. We need to cut through all the science fiction, all the hype, and really focus on the tangible, concrete AI shifts that are already happening. This isn't about some far-off future, it's about what the next couple of years will actually feel like. The real story of 2026 isn't going to be some single aha moment or a rogue AGI taking over. The reality, as this slide puts it, is that it's about 1,000 smaller, interconnected changes. They're all stacking on top of each other until our digital and even our physical worlds just feel fundamentally different. So, to really get where we're going, we first need to look under the hood. We've got to understand the engine that's driving all of this. These are the foundational tech shifts that are setting the stage for every bit of disruption that's coming our way. Now, check this out. What's so interesting here is the kind of demand we're seeing for AI compute. It's not just growing, it's becoming structural. What does that mean? It means companies are moving AI from being a cool demo into the absolute core of how they operate. And this is creating what sources are calling a desperate demand, where the only real ceiling isn't the budget, it's the actual physical supply of chips. And all that computing power, well, it's fueling a massive evolution in the AI models themselves. We're moving on from large language models that are basically just really good at predicting the next word. The whole frontier is shifting to what are called omnimodels. They get text, images, video, and audio all at once, and even more profoundly, to world models. Okay, so this is the crucial point. A world model doesn't just read about the world, it actually tries to understand the underlying rules. It builds a little simulation of reality inside its own mind, if you will. This is an absolute game changer for things like robotics or really any AI that has to interact with the physical world, because it can predict what will happen next, not just what word to say next. So, how does this powerful new engine actually change things in the real world? Well, this technology isn't just happening in some lab somewhere. It's already creating very real friction and transformation in our economy and, in our workplaces. Experts are basically mapping out a clear three-stage impact on jobs for 2026. It's going to start with automation accelerating in those frontline roles, right? But it very quickly moves up the ladder into professional decision-making jobs. Think finance, think medicine. By the end of the year, the whole conversation is going to shift to large-scale employment restructuring. And this just brilliantly illustrates the sheer speed of this shift. We're talking about projections showing a potential 25% drop in the share of tasks performed by humans in key sectors. And that's within a single year. That is a level of change that we normally associate with decades, not months.
This brings us to a really uncomfortable tension that's growing in the workplace. You've probably heard of bossware, software that monitors what employees are doing. Well, its whole purpose is changing. It's shifting from just tracking productivity to actively capturing how you do your job, to train the very AI agents that could one day automate that job.
So what does this mean for your skills? The most valuable people in this new world won't be the ones who can produce the first draft of a report or a marketing plan or a block of code. The value is shifting. It's moving to the people who have the expert judgment to validate, to edit, and to manage the risk of what an AI spits out. It's a fundamental pivot from doing the work to verifying the work. This disruption isn't just economic. It's bigger than that. It's seeping into our social behaviors, into our daily routines, and even into our relationship with the very devices that we carry in our pockets every single day. We're seeing this fascinating counter-movement starting to emerge. As the online world gets more and more cluttered with low-quality AI-generated slop and just endless polarization, people are getting tired. They're just exhausted. Data shows social media use is actually declining among younger folks, and a real premium is being placed on real-world connections. The new social status symbol isn't your follower count, it's being proudly offline. Kind of ironically, as AI gets smarter, it's probably going to lead to less screen time. We're moving away from that endless cycle of unlocking our phone, swiping around, typing things in. The future is a voice-first world where we can just speak our commands to our phones, to our earbuds, to future AI glasses, and the task just gets done. It completely breaks that old behavioral loop. But this move to a more ambient, always-on AI, it raises some pretty serious questions, right? The convenience of an AI meeting assistant that takes perfect notes is great, but it comes at a cost. It forces a new kind of social etiquette where we might have to start assuming we're always being recorded. And it's exactly why many experts predict we're going to see major privacy lawsuits in 2026 over consent and data leaks from these tools. And this leads us to the final layer of change. This is where we get into the predictions that don't just disrupt industries, but start to really challenge our sense of identity, of credibility, and what we even perceive as being real. The tools for this, they already exist. I want you to just imagine this scenario for a second. A huge business deal or a high-profile court case completely falls apart because a key person involved, someone with a LinkedIn profile, a social media history, someone who even showed up on video calls, is revealed to be a completely synthetic, AI-generated identity. It only has to be convincing long enough to cause serious damage. Okay, here's a thought experiment that's predicted to become a reality. An AI-generated news outlet starts producing high-quality, factually accurate reporting. It's so good it actually wins major journalism awards, but later its automated origin is revealed. This is going to force a massive public debate. When we're chasing the truth, what matters more, the accuracy of the information or the fact that a human wrote it? This next prediction, this one really pushes the boundaries. The line between a creator and their content is already pretty blurry. So what happens when a creator dies, but a model trained on their personality keeps the channel going with new, consistent content? The most unsettling part of this prediction isn't that it's possible, it's that it will probably work. The audience is going to keep watching. Okay, so let's wrap all of this together. What are the crucial, paradigm-shifting things you really need to be watching for as we head into 2026? Let's just distill it all down. These are the big ones. In our work, we're going to shift from production to validation. Socially, we're going to move from valuing our online lives to our offline presence. Cognitively, we have to shift from just trusting what we see to constantly verifying it. Behaviorally, we'll go from texting to talking to our devices. And as an entire industry, we're shifting from just debating the hype to dealing with the messy reality of it all. And that brings us to our final, and maybe most provocative thought. People are going to start outsourcing regret to AI. They'll ask a model, what if I'd taken that other job? Or show me how things would have turned out if I'd said yes. And the AI can generate these plausible, alternate stories, giving you a simulated sense of closure. But when emotional processing becomes a product, how does that change our relationship with our own past and with our own memories? That is the world we're walking into.